Well, we made it to the last section of Unit 1. I hope you're all getting ready for the exam. In this last section, we'll be discussing a variety of topics, but we will begin with aggression. What is it? There is much debate as to the nature of aggression. It can have a variety of causes and can be directed at a variety of targets. For example, aggression can be oriented within oneself, such as leading to depression, or aggression could be oriented outward, towards others, leading to physical altercations. Before we continue further, let's explore the two basic types of aggression. Hostile aggression results from a frustration and is not necessarily intended to produce benefits. Examples of hostile aggression are fights that break out after a heated argument, or even the bad words that come out of one's mouth when upset by other drivers on the highway. It's called road rage. It can often be the purging of anger or frustration in a physically or emotionally violent manner. Instrumental aggression, on the other hand, is behavior intended to provide some gain or personal benefit. For example, you could say that the man in the picture is an aggressive used car salesman, but that does not necessarily mean he is trying to start a fight with you. He's just unwaveringly trying to get you to buy a used Ford Pinto. Your purchase of a vehicle brings him financial reward. His aggression has personal benefit for himself. So what type of aggression is this? It's not hostile. This is instrumental aggression. Each boxer is using the other as an instrument to win the fight, which in turn wins them fame and fortune. There are many explanations for the causes of aggression that are still being explored today. Generalized arousal, or generalized anxiety, is the chronic state of heightened arousal where everything tends to get under your skin and can lead to agitation and then aggression. Some biological explanations include temperament, which is the genetic links to personality, the limbic damage of the brain, which processes emotions such as aggression, which we will study later in the semester, and then hormone imbalance can lead to high levels of testosterone or adrenaline, which can make one more susceptible towards aggression. Of course, drugs like alcohol can lead to aggression as well. Aggression can also be learned through modeling parent behavior, like we learned earlier. If parents only resolve their disagreements through arguing and fighting, their children may do the same. Environmental conditions like stress can lead to aggression as well, but the most important environmental condition that you should know is the frustration-aggression principle. This is the principle that frustration from the failure to achieve some goal creates anger, which can generate aggressive behavior. For example, if an outcast in school makes multiple attempts to fit in with his or her classmates, but is repeatedly bullied and made fun of, the consequences could be disastrous, like in the case of Columbine. On that note, let's transition to a more optimistic and positive category of social behavior, prosocial behavior. The one concept that sums up prosocial behavior is altruism. This is the belief in acting for others' good or welfare without seeking personal gain. It is true selflessness. For an example, pictured here is an African-American female teen protecting a KKK sympathizer from being beaten by an anti-racism demonstration. The demonstrators caught eye of the KKK sympathizer and began chasing him and beating him when this teenager stepped in to protect him without regard to her personal safety and with no personal gain at all. In fact, she probably took a few shots herself in the effort. Why did she do this, you think? Would you have done this? We'll talk in class. We discussed the bystander effect previously in 1B.4, but I did not explain what real-world murder inspired this development. One evening in New York City, Kitty Genovese was walking home when she was brutally stabbed and mugged on a public sidewalk, surrounded by apartment buildings. As Kitty screamed for help, the perpetrator fled the scene. A few minutes later, after no one came to the screaming Kitty's aid, the perpetrator returned to rape and murder her. People heard her screams but did nothing. Why? It was because of the diffusion of responsibility that occurs as a result of the bystander effect. This is the opposite of altruism. It is the indifference of one's fellow man. Other factors influencing altruism are relative costs of acting or not acting. Like if you act, you could be rewarded, or if you act, you could be punished or hurt. The presence of an ally might influence you to act to help others. A sense of competence, maybe you might be a doctor, and if someone's in need, you will assist because you have the knowledge. or empathy toward a person in need might influence you to act to help. But in the case of Kitty Genovese, nobody helped because of the bystander effect. Other concepts that are not necessarily prosocial behavior, but can be loosely related to prosocial behavior, is the social exchange theory. The social exchange theory states that our social behavior is an exchange process that seeks to maximize benefits and minimize costs. For example, Billy breaks up with Sally because she causes too much stress with all her drama and costs too much money with her gift demands. Reciprocity norm is the expectation that people will help, not hurt, those who have helped them. Example, if you give me a gift, I give you a gift. But if you mess around in class or if you don't study, then you're not going to probably do very well academically in this class. Social responsibility norm is the expectation that people will help those dependent upon them. For example, the Veterans Affairs Department, which provides need to veterans who had formerly served and protected this country. Superordinate goals are shared goals that override differences among people and require their cooperation. For example, two students who don't get along reconcile some of their differences because they are in the same group for a class project. What other concept is at play here? And then there's also GRIT, Graduated and Reciprocated Initiatives in Tension Reduction. This is a strategy designed to decrease international tensions, like maybe what's going on between Russia and Ukraine right now. And we will conclude our exploration of social psychology on a high note with love and interpersonal attraction between people. After all this gloom and doom in regards to society, I figure it is time for some more lighthearted and optimistic concepts. Factors that influence attractions between individuals are many, but there are some that are more accurate predictors. For example, proximity has a great impact, like the mere exposure effect. It would be pretty difficult to fall in love with someone you cannot actually walk and talk and experience life with. Of course, with the technological era, who knows, maybe that's not true anymore. Similarity of opinions, politics, music, movies, etc. is another factor, as is physical attractiveness. Another is the matching hypothesis, which claims that people are more likely to form and succeed in a committed relationship with someone who is equally socially desirable. This is often researched in the form of physical attraction. So in short, the matching hypothesis states that for relationships to be successful, both people have to be equally physically attractive. Equity also contributes to attraction. It's a condition in which people receive from a relationship in proportion to what they give into the relationship. I do the dishes and load the dishwasher, for example, and my wife unloads and puts the dishes away. That might seem a little trivial, but it works. Self-disclosure is revealing intimate aspects of oneself to others. This enables trust and understanding between the individuals. If I was to keep all these if I was to keep a lot of secrets and stuff like that from my wife would probably not be very trusting of me. And therefore, our relationship might not be as healthy as it otherwise would be. According to Elaine Hatfield's research on this subject, she concluded that there are two types of love: passionate love and companionate love. Passionate love is an aroused state of intense positive absorption in another, usually present at the beginning of a love relationship, and kind of pretty typical to see in the hallway of a high school. Companionate love is the deep, affectionate attachment we feel for others with whom our lives are intertwined. This is more common in more mature, developed relationships. Well, this is it. That concludes Unit 1. Get ready for the review tomorrow and the test on Friday. But wait, let's wrap up with a few pieces of advice. So pretty much to sum up this unit, as we've learned, here are some life instructions or life advice. Have fun. Do not hurt people, because you never know what goes around comes around. Do not accept defeat, the self-serving, self-fulfilling prophecy, and strive to be happy. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.